Hello, this is Christian. In this video, I'm going to show you how to install Xampp on your Macintosh. So we're going to download the Xampp from the Xampp website, install it, and there's some configuration to run on the local host. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so the first thing is you want to go to the Xampp website here. If you search for it or just type in apachefriends.org, and you should see this site that looks very similar to this one. If you're using Windows or Linux, you can install these. I'm using a Mac here, so basically you just download this file. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I already did. So you click it, download that file. What you'll get is it's a virtual machine that will run on the Macintosh, and that has been changed because of security reasons. If you go to here, I'll show you what that means. Usually in the past, you're able to run a OS X native file so that you can have access directly into your hard drive, but that has been changed, and so as you can see, this message here is no longer available. So you have to use the VM, the dash VM. It's a virtual machine that runs on the server on the machine. So let me just close this for now, and then once you download, you should see this file. Okay, so you have the OS X here version here, and then with a dash VM. So all these will be have in this VM. And the difference is because of the VM, you have a different IP address. Okay, so go ahead and click that to install. And so once you install that, this is not working here, but okay, so it's gonna load installer and just go through the installing process. Just basically drag here, put it into your application folder, and it's going to take a few seconds to install that for us. We'll just wait until that's done. Okay, so now that's been installed. You can close this now, and you can remove this, eject this. You don't need that anymore. Okay, so now open your application folder, and you should see Xampp in there. So at the very bottom, I have it listed here. You can show icons if you want, but at the very bottom here is the Xampp folder. Okay, so if you open it, you just double click on it, and it should load Xampp, the interface that you can have access to those information here. So let me just minimize this for now. Okay, so just say open. So this is the interface here. You have a couple of tabs here to look at. One is the general. You will start here by turning on this is the virtual machine. You need to turn that on first so that all these services and network and volumes and so on can be activated. So first, just click start, and it might take a little while, maybe like a couple seconds or even a minute to have it turned on, and we'll wait until that it's turned on. Then once that's on, all these menus here will be available, and these services also will be clickable as well, and along with all the other information there. So we'll just wait until that it's turned on. Okay, so it's green, and you see the IP address here. My machine is 192.168.64.2. This is a local IP address. It's a private address on your local machine, but this is attached now to a virtual machine. Okay, so if you go to the services here, you see these are available. All these will be turned on when we activate them. You can start one at a time if you want to. The networking here, we need to activate this as well, because now again Macintosh needs to run on a secure server or a local machine to make this work. So we'll enable this in a minute. So first thing is go ahead and so notice that these services will be turned on by default for some reason. I'm not sure what I did, but if they're not turned on, you can just click and start on all of them, or you just click on go to application and it will also turn all these on. Okay, so if it's all green, then you're great, you're done, pretty much, right? There's nothing much to do, and that's what you want. If it's red or something, then usually you have a port issue and that needs to be configured, but hopefully this is the case. And so if I go to application, if I click that, it's going to launch the dashboard, the Xampp dashboard. You see that it launches the site at 192.168.64.2/dashboard. This is a folder, and this is PHP right here. If you don't see this, that means you don't have PHP installed, Xampp is not properly configured, it's not installed. Okay, so again, notice the IP address is this one here. If you try to change it to localhost, okay, you said it doesn't work because we haven't configured that yet. So let's go back to where it was before. And then later on, when we deal with databases, you're going to go to this site here called phpMyAdmin. It's just another application inside the local server here. So if you click on that, it's going to say access forbidden because of security concerns. You need to run on a local network, or you can set this file and configure this file. So we're not going to do that. This is a simpler way to do it. So we're going to come back and do that in a bit here. So okay, so now you are actually in PHP mode because now this is the server, and this is a folder you will find inside the htdocs. So let's go back to, and let me just minimize this for now, and so we have, oops, not that one. Okay, so let me just put over here on the side so you can see what's going on. So on the services, you see all these are turned on. And the network here, notice there is a localhost 8080 port for port 80, and then there's a 443 port for 443. This is SSL, okay? And this is also for SSL. It's secure, but you need to enable this to access phpMyAdmin, and I'll show you that in a minute there. So then if you go to the back to the applications window here, right, you see that inside here you have a folder called Xampp. Again, if you just double click, you only get this, right? If you try to access it by right clicking on it and go to the show package contents, you see a folder called contents. Inside here are some stuff that you don't want to mess with, okay? These are the source files that run Xampp. So please do not go in here and change anything here. Okay, it's supposed to be hidden, okay? But where do you access these information? Like for example, this content here, where do you find it? Okay, so that is by going to the volumes tab here. You need to mount it. Okay, so I'll show you here in the this screen here as well, so you can see. Let me minimize this. So on the left side of this column, you see that once I mount that volume, you will see another IP address here, and this is all your local locations for the drives. So if I click mount, and you see on the left side here, the IP address, the same IP address we see earlier, is mounted here. So if you click on that one now, this is the LAMP environment. Okay, so if you click LAMP, open that file, you see a bunch of files and folders in here. Okay, and one of these you see is called the htdocs. Okay, this is where your PHP file lives. Okay, it needs to be inside this folder here. But before we go on there, notice you also see a MySQL. This is for your database, and PHP, the PHP source code itself, and a folder called phpMyAdmin. This is a program that lets you, you know, monitor or configure databases. Okay, so all three here kind of work together. All right, so we'll access that later. So please, again, don't do anything here uh, unless you know what you're doing. So in the htdocs, this is the root directory of your server. As you can see, if I go back here and launch that site again, I'm not sure where it went, but okay, over here. Okay, so again, back in the dashboard. So you see this is a dashboard folder. This is a directory. Inside here, this is the dashboard folder here. Okay, so if I click the dashboard, you'll see a bunch of files. One of these is against a PHP file or just HTML. Is a index HTML here. Okay, this one here is what you see over here. So if I type in index.html, you see exactly the same thing. Okay, that is this file here. Okay, if I renamed it to, let's just say index2, okay, index2 now, if I go back and to refresh it, it should fail. Okay, so that is the file you want to load. Okay, so in this case is index1. I mean, just index. So I'm going to change it back to just index. And so if you write your code later on, and if you want to use this server, you need to put your files in here. All right. Oh, what do I do? Okay. So then if you want to run a PHP file, I'm already inside the dashboard. I'm going to get out of the dashboard, go back to the htdocs. Inside the htdocs here, say that I want to create another file. I'm just going to copy this HTTP file here, and I'm going to duplicate it. Okay. And then we'll just call it my PHP, put it down here, and we'll change it to my php.php. I'm going to edit this file, open it with the editor, text edit, and just put a very simple code in here. So for now, just remove everything, keep the PHP tab here, tag here, and just say echo welcome to PHP. Okay, that is the PHP statement. Again, it's not case sensitive in this case, and the word echo here, but usually you put all lowercase, just make it consistent. Okay, just save that file. You can close it and just save it. Just say okay. And then now you can access this file called my PHP here in the htdocs. Again, htdocs represents this slash here. Okay, this slash here is the htdocs. And so now if I type in my php.php, you see that this is the file that I put it here, right? And then later on, you know, you create a project, so you don't want to put everything here. You create a new folder, maybe call it my project, okay? And then, oops, my project. I already have one for some reason. And delete. Let me delete this. I have duplicate. So I have a folder called my project, and here, okay. And then inside my project, I have a file called test.php, for example. Okay, so I can go into my project and test.php, and here again in that test.php file, just a test file I did earlier, you put it in here. So all your project can be in here. Another thing can go in here. So this is how things are laid out in Xampp. All right. So again, make sure you put all your content in here in the htdocs. If you're running outside of PHP Storm, okay, we'll talk about PHP Storm in the next video, but this is for running PHP on a server, which is in this case in the Apache server. So you need to activate this and then, you know, mount the volume so you can have access to your files, and then and so on. Okay, so to get this file, again, just click Explore. You can go over here and double click that, or if you click Explore, it's going to open that same folder I just showed you here. Okay. All right, so now back to the dashboard. Again, notice the IP address is 192.168.24.4. If you want to go and use localhost, okay, you can't in this case because it's not created, it's not allowed. So to do that, you need to go into the network here and change and activate this. Right now it's port 8080. This is default. You can change it if you want, but I just figure, you know, leave it as is and just activate this, enable it. Okay, once it's enabled, then you can go and use that, but then you make sure you use the localhost :8080, and that should turn it on, and now you should use localhost port 8080. Or you can use this IP address here. It doesn't matter which one you use. Okay, it's pointing to the same place. So then now I get, if I go back to the dashboard, I get the same information as I had earlier. Okay, so now once that's activated, and I can now go into phpMyAdmin, and as you can see, I have access to my phpMyAdmin, and this is now the interface for MySQL database, as you can see here. Okay, so later on, when you create the databases, this is what you'll be using to do that. So I hope this is helpful, and if you have any questions again, please let me know. Just remember that you have to turn this on every time, and then you know, activate this database later on. If we're going to use databases, you'll need to turn this on, and then just make sure you turn this on as well if you want to use the local host. Otherwise, use this IP address here. Okay.